Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus, and today we're going to be watching a couple matches played between myself and Platano Torino. So this was a ladder match, and I'm pretty sure that's an Italian name, at least I think so, it looks very Italian to me. And today we're going to be playing the Heylow comp, so the idea behind today's video is to ask ourselves a question: is the Heylow comp still as meta as it used to be? Now, one thing I will say though, this is my second time recording this video, or even the third time recording this video, because first I played the matches, then I did post-match commentary, but realized that I wasn't actually recording, and now I'm actually recording for the third time, so it is the third time that I'm watching these two matches, so I have thoroughly analyzed them and will give you all the important details that there are to cover. But yeah, in terms of today's video, is the Heylow comp still the meta team? Because back in the old days of the Butcher's Circus, everyone played this team over and over and over again. It was considered the top of the meta, no one knew how to counter it, it just won matches in 2 rounds. Everyone played it, either played it in the tournament or banned it in the tournaments, and people were even saying things like, you know, this is the de facto best team in the Butcher Circus, you always play it if you have a chance to, if you're trying to win, if you're trying to be competitive, it's just too powerful, it should be removed from the tournaments. It was crazy, the outrage over this team, because of all the popularity it had. But if you look at it nowadays, people aren't playing it even near as much. It is very rare for you to see someone that still plays the Heylow comp in 2023 Butcher Circus, and big reason that is because it loses against other mark teams. It loses against WD, it loses against Hit Squad, it loses against Silent Special, it loses against Jester WD. It doesn't always lose, but it has a pretty decent chance of losing. And that's really what sets it back, is because people are shifting away from the Heylow comp and into those teams, especially WD. WD has taken the place of the Heylow comp in the meta as the de facto mark team that people are scared of, they're terrified of when they think of those crit 44 Arbalest shots. And if that's the case, why? Why is it that the Heylow comp has gone back? Is it just because it's losing it in the mark matchups? Why does it lose in the mark matchups? Why is it not played as much anymore? And I think the biggest reason that is mostly because of the Arbalest, because even though she can shoot characters down to 0, if she gets disrupted, the damage sources in the Heylow comp are somewhat lacking. The Crusader, of course, is here for the stuns, and he does a relatively decent amount of damage with the stuns. He, of course, prevents heals, prevents guards, so he's definitely a solid character, but, you know, he's in every other mark team, so really nothing special there. And then what you have is you have 2 finisher characters in your midline, and what that means is you're lacking an Abomination to break the guards or to stun, you're lacking a Vestal to stun as well, and you're also lacking a Flagellant for the regens and that late game capability with, you know, just Flagellant being broken as hell. So you are definitely lacking on some things when compared to those, and what do you get in turn? Well, you get a Jester, which has the capability of hitting through a guard, but he doesn't really hit hard through a guard, nor does he break it. He's just there to get the kills. So if you do not get your damage through with the Arbalest and with you know, basically just the Arbalests, the Jester will not be able to get the kills round 2, round 3 as you would normally expect it to. Well, if that's the case, Shep, then why is it that the Heylow comp just dominated in 2 rounds back in the day? And why is it that it's still a very good team, even if the Jester isn't good enough at getting those early kills against your opponent? Well, the reason that is because people just weren't ready for it. People did not play as well back then. They did not make the defensive teams as solid as they make them today. Today, if you want to break through a defensive team, you really need to put your heart into it. You need to bring all the best defensive abilities. You need to be able to break the guards. You need to have accuracy. You need to have very reliable stuns. And even then, there's some teams you cannot break through. So back in the day, people just didn't play the teams quite as tight as that. People played kind of like how my opponent's displaying here, with a Crusader that doesn't have Block of Light, with a team that's overall has a good amount of stress output, but that is overall very squishy. And isn't really ready to just defend its characters too well. It's ready enough to defend its characters against one or two actions, but the characters will eventually go down. And that is a genuine way of playing, losing your characters and just doing stress instead, and just sacrificing a character or two to get the afflictions rolling, and after that you just get a big snowball that way. But it is still quite tricky. And it's definitely a lot trickier in this situation because my Crusaders just went virtuous, so things are being very rough here for my opponent. So if the Heylow comp isn't really getting those kills round 2 and round 3, which is what it wants to do, it wants to maybe stun a healer with the Crusader, it wants to mark a character, shoot a character, and Dirk stab a character down to 0, all in round 1. That's the modus operandi of the Heylow comp. It's what it wants to do every single time, and after it gets the kill, it has a Jester in position 2, ready to finale. It can get 2 kills in 2 rounds if the enemy team isn't prepared for it, which is why it gave it so many of these cheap wins, honestly. Cheap wins early on that just let it dominate the early Butcher Circus meta. But nowadays, is it still good, even if you don't get those cheap wins? And I still think that it is quite good in some situations. And the reason that is because this team has 2 characters, which are the Bounty Hunter and the Jester, which can do things that make it so you don't have to get the win in like the first 2 to 3 rounds against the stress teams. You can turn the match upside down because of the Harvest and because of the Caltrips. Of course, you can play this team with like Uppercut and Solo if you want to instead of those 2 abilities, but what I really like about those 2 abilities is that even if your opponent has ways to heal themselves in a way that you're not going to get the kill unless you finale, even if they have a very solid defense, between the Harvest bleeds, the Arbalest shooting, and the Caltrips bleeds being applied to everyone, what's going to happen is eventually the bleeds will catch up to them, and this hybrid team will get the W, because with all the characters attritioning down to 0, they won't be able to stop all of it, and it definitely has that in its advantage. So it has ways to win the match that don't involve getting a kill as quickly as possible, which is what all the other damage teams are like. Jester WD does that, Salic Special does that, WD does that. Hit Squad can kind of not do that to a certain point. It can kind of delay the match with its reclaims and just seek for a better killing opportunity after all its reclaims come down and the flagell heals are important. But yeah, here we're going for a rematch against the same player, and this time they are still bringing the same team, but they go first. One thing that I didn't mention the last time I was recording the video, but I will mention again, is that this match was played just seconds after the first one, because I got out of the queue and I just played again. And my opponent did the exact same thing with the exact same team, didn't really consider the setup at all, didn't try to change anything, which is not what I used to do back in the old days. When I started playing Butcher Circus, if I lost a match, what I would do is I would meticulously analyze every single aspect of my team and every single aspect of the match that I just played and think, what went wrong? Why did I lose that match? Sometimes I just say, oh, too many crits, and I just leave it at that. But most of the time I think, maybe my defense wasn't good enough, maybe there's a few trinkets I could change around, maybe the team will just have better synergy overall after that. And I think that's definitely something you should do here, because my opponent's team, while it may be good, I feel like it has a Generalist Crusader, and I do not like Generalist Crusaders all that much, especially not in teams where their win condition is to get the stress. This team that my opponent is playing, their win condition is 100% doing stress. It's not even collateral damage, it's stress output. Between the Man-at-Arms and the Occultist, your win condition is almost always just going to be down to pure stress that you have going right there. But now we're going to see why the Heylow comp really is quite powerful, because even though we went second here, my opponent is having to heal themselves over and over and over again, but my Arbalests just shoots, and my other characters all have attacking actions. They can all hit into that right position, into that rank 2 position, and my opponent is just getting shuffled down to 0. This is the mark damage shuffle that they are suffering here. And you might notice that this time, even though it's post-match commentary, my mouse isn't jumping around all over the place like it was in the previous video, because this time I wasn't listening to music, I was actually eating some snacks. So every now and then I play Butcher Circus without having to commentate, just to make sure that I still like the game, Because you'd imagine after 3 years of playing it, almost every single day and also making videos on it. I haven't been doing that for the entire duration, of course, but sometimes I took breaks and I haven't started making videos on the Butcher Circus. Still like kinda late into it. It took me almost a year to start making videos for it, but yeah, I still enjoy it. I just eat snacks and I just lay back, relax, just play, have a chill gaming session. Sometimes a little bit less with the very exciting matches. I get a little less chill. I stop eating quite as much and I just lean forward as you do. But you know, I still enjoy the game and it is still a fun thing to have. And I'm glad you enjoy watching my videos to the run if you have made it to this part in the video. So at this point, the situation might look a little bit difficult for me because, you know, I'm kind of at affliction level at my Arbalest, and I have 2 stun characters, but honestly it doesn't really match all that much because stuns aren't stress. I don't really care if I'm getting stunned because chances are I'm gonna have more characters than you because I'm playing the damage team, you're playing the stress team. You're gonna have to sacrifice a character. By the point that character is dead, you're gonna have to ask yourself, have I dealt enough stress to still win this match? And I feel like my opponent has dealt enough stress to still win this match, but I'm not sure if they will win it. Right now what they're gonna do is just transform and potentially go for a slam, which is what I was expecting my opponent to do, but here they go for something else which is quite surprising. They go for a rage and actually put my Arbalests down to 0. The reason they do that is because, you know, they have transformation damage buffs and because they got a crit the previous round. And you might be wondering, well, Shep, didn't you just pull that Abomination to position 1? Didn't you allow him to do that? Do you have a master plan here? And no, I don't. My master plan was, you know what, I want to kill that Abomination, and he's probably going to heal himself if he's still in position 3, and I kind of don't really want to have to deal with Beast Vile, so I'm just not gonna have that happen. But yeah, it didn't really work out all too well because I pulled him into position 1 and, you know, he just went for a rage. One thing I could have also done was I could have pulled the Man at Arms and now he would be in position 3, but oh well, what can you do? Now I'm just gonna go for my action here. I just go for a stun on the Crusader because, you know, he has no stun resistance and there's nothing wrong with stunning here. I could have gone for a self-heal, but after I did that I could have gotten stunned again, which wasn't likely, but also could have been a Zealous, gotten 2 afflictions, maybe a crit, you never know. Just get rid of your opponent's attacking actions and overall just enjoy yourself here, which is exactly what I'm doing. And I get yet another virtue. I got a virtue the previous match, I got a virtue this match. It's virtues all over the place and I'm definitely enjoying it. Vigorous is one of the best virtues. I haven't gotten Courageous, as you have in the background there, that face red droopy eyes Courageous Crusader. We haven't gotten it, but we've gotten pretty close. We got Vigorous, which is the second best, and it is best if you're not playing against stress teams. Vigorous is just brutal, plus 40 damage while going first, which is just amazing, as well as a chance to heal yourself for 10% of your max HP. It's a 25% chance every single round. Vigorous really is quite amazing for those in-game situations. But at this point you might be wondering, Shep, why don't you just drop that finale as you were saying, like get a snowball going? I don't need it. I don't need to drop the finale here on the Abomination. I can just drop a Harvest and get bleeds on my opponent's side, and I'm overall better just saving it. And you might have noticed there, my Bounty Hunter was doing 3 to 10 damage with the finish him. 3 to 10 damage. That means that the mid-roll is less than a third of the max roll. Now, does that make sense? I don't think it does. If you multiply the min roll by 3, it's still less than the max roll. I thought that they were supposed to be like half of each other. I genuinely do not understand how the Bounty Hunter's damage scales with the finisher, because it says plus 30% damage, but the damage just goes wacky, goes absolutely wacky. 3 to 10, just I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it, but here I just go ahead and drop a stun on that Crusader. You might be wondering, I mean on the Abomination, you might be wondering, Shep, why did you drop a stun on the Abomination, not like the Zealous? He was dazed anyway, right? Well, if my opponent heals, I won't get an immediate kill, and sure I can bring the Abomination back down to 0, but then he's gonna heal himself, and the reason I don't want that to happen is because my characters are afflicted. If I try delaying here, just hoping that, oh, you know, I'll just hit them once and then hit them again and then kill them, I can just go for the Zealous and get chip damage on the Crusader. The reason I shouldn't do that is because my characters are afflicted. 3 of my characters are afflicted, so if I let myself If I let that happen, what could happen was one of my characters just pass, and boom, that's all it takes for that Abomination to survive. Drop a transformation the next round. With the transformation, my Arbalests is beyond dead. My Bounty Hunter is dead. My Jester will die to the Act Outs, or, you know, not to the Act Outs, but will die after dropping the finale, because he'll take brutal amounts of damage. And then, as powerful as my Crusader might be, typically he wouldn't be able to handle a 55 prot enemy Crusader with a Man-at-Arms supporting him, but since this isn't a 55 prot enemy Crusader, we still have a pretty good chance of winning here. Just look at the damage we've been able to do to him. I will say I got very lucky to get a Caltrips bleed on that Crusader. It was a crit, so it was a 50-50, but at this point he doesn't have a chance anymore because between the stuns and the bolas and the Caltrips that we did to that Crusader, he actually took way too much damage, way too much. And he was already very low on HP, so now after that finale, it is essentially over. My opponent doesn't have a win chance anymore. Same thing for that Man-at-Arms. He has taken way too much chip damage, even though I wasn't really focusing him down. This is really what the Heylow comp does do nowadays. It's one of the reasons that I still find it to be a competent team. It's because it still has that bleeding capabilities. It's not a pure mark team. It's a hybrid. I like the hybrid versatility that it has to make sure that it doesn't really need to win the match in the first 2 rounds, unless you're playing against mark teams. And even then, you might be able to get a few bleeds off and just try winning that way. I have no idea how that happened, but you can see I was playing Minecraft here the other day. I've never been on this tab. This is the kind of thing that would only happen while I'm recording. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.